Hey guys, alvin1777 here, and this is part 5 and the last part of Destiny Confirmed. It's been a short ride, but I gotta get through a whole bunch of other decks for heroes, so I figured a 5-part series should be okay. I think in the next part though, I'm gonna have some more duel videos of the decks I play with up. So yeah, and I'll probably go through showing you the evolutions of the decks and whatever that I play with. The last video, part 4, was the build that I had finalized before I took it apart. So, I mean, I'll probably put it back together sooner or later. Just, just letting you know of the evolution or whatever. Oh, and Gadget, this is my notebook. This is the book I use for stuff. Just wanted to show him that, make a mention of it. But yeah, anyway, this last video will be about how, when I played with this deck, how far I got against certain other decks. So, let's start off with ritual decks. I played several different ritual decks on Dueling Network. I played Herald, Relinquished, and that level 8 guy. I'm trying to remember who he is. Wait, it's probably in my book somewhere. Yep, here it is. Demise. It's a really good deck. Those decks are really good. The Relinquished deck I always beat. Like, it wasn't that hard, because they usually just absorbed him most of the time. And what I did was, thanks to Heavy Stone Venomous T being in the form, I just spaced the card and just attacked them. Usually they had protection, but it didn't really matter since I would just wipe the board without them anyway. And since I main decked the enemy control, I just took the Relinquish and made them attack with. Which is funny. Herald, I always lost against because, for the most part, the deck relies on spells a lot. So they try to Miracle Fuse in it and get it off. Demise is kind of... It was kind of, again, that was actually kind of easy to beat, which surprised me. All I had to do really was bottomless the Demise, and it was over. But yeah, ritual decks. Besides Herald, for this deck, they're not bad to beat. Next up, we have Monarchs. The Frog Monarch is actually kind of easy to beat when you side in Super Polys, because I found out outside decking Super Polys against the Water Monarchs was a good idea. Like, as soon as they enter their main phase 1, you want a Super Poly with their Tree Worn Frog, put it back in the grading or summon 0, so they can't do anything else. Even if they do the econ thing, you can still Super Poly because you're using their side of the field and clearing it off. But Monarchs are actually a good matchup for this deck. You just gotta be careful of the Treacherous Trap Holes and the Spiritual Water Art Oys. But again, it's a really good matchup for this deck, and hopefully when I play the next deck, I'll show you more. Next up is Blackwings. Blackwings is such an anti-meta deck right now. The deck actually stops this deck kind of, sort of. It's a really good, again, another good matchup, especially when they summon Armor Master, and that thing's hard as shit to get over. Sure, I mean, like, it's very hard to play against Blackwings with this deck, because this deck doesn't have that much control. It's more of an offensive deck. You want to go offensive on them, so, But then, again, Blackwings another good matchup. This is to represent Karakuris. The Karakuri matchup is actually kind of easy, because you run Super Polys and enemy controllers. So you take their strongest monster, you Miracle Fuse with it and get Gaia. Especially when you side deck in game 2. Actually pretty easy to use. But the Karakuri is kind of easy to beat. So, at least in my opinion, Karakuris is... Because I have people play at my locals or at the plaza. Some people play Karakuris, and then the people who did play, they don't play them anymore because people easily beat them. So, This is for new decks. Like, decks that I saw with like 60 cards and they play this, and it's just like, I I wish I could have played a Karibo deck. I wish I could have. Like Dubcake Dad, the way he made the deck was funny, and I kind of enjoyed that. I kind of want to make it, but anyway, I like the Wing Karibo. It was kind of. I mean, the noob decks are kind of easy to play against because you already know what they're going to do before they do it. I had played this 160-card noob deck where it was just like, I'm going to discard Karibo, discard Karibo, discard Karibo. I just was only really smacking him with the Diamond Dude. It wasn't that much damage. And then when I started summoning out big stuff, he didn't have anything to recycle it. So, you know. Just for a hint, noobs, 60-card decks don't work at all. Any 60-card deck I played, I smashed it. Let's go. X-Sabers. There are a couple of people who still play X-Sabers, still loyal to the X-Saber name. I must say, you guys have props. You guys play your deck all out. All honesty, I like playing the X-Saber deck. It's a good matchup, and Saberhole's a bitch. Unless I draw Heavy Storm, Saberhole is a bitch. So, you know. It's a good matchup. Scraps. With Darkened Dragon, Scraps aren't that big of a threat, because they get, instead of getting destroyed, getting sent. But otherwise, if I don't have Darkened Dragon out, it's kind of bad. They usually... A teammate of mine used to run Scraps, and he used to beat... When I played with this deck, he used to beat the tar out of me, so... Scraps is another good matchup to play against. Flame Veils. Or Larvals, whichever one you prefer. The Larval decks now are very fast, and they outspeed this one, so they usually win. They don't play this card at all anymore. This is just a card that was in my book, my trade book, so I just decided to use it. Machinas and Gadgets. Gadgets, anti-meta Gadgets, they have an upper hand on this, mostly. The creature swap combos and the it's just a very, very good deck. Machinas I don't really have a problem with because I can just side on Cyber Dragon and beat them. So Lightsworns. Lightsworns eat this deck apart. Well, Twilight anyway eats this deck apart because they're usually just destroying stuff. That's all Lightsworns and Twilight do. They destroy stuff or remove stuff from play. I've actually been OTK'd twice by the deck, so you know. I mean, I've beaten it sometimes, but sometimes they just wait. Sometimes you just can't get out of it. Dragoonides. This deck is the hardest to side for because you don't expect to play it. But when you do play it and you have a good side deck for it, like I side deck Trap Holes because they have the normal summon to get their card effects off. So I Trap Hole it. It's very, very. This deck is easy to play against because you already know what they're going to do. All you have to do is space the Ravine when they discard. So it's very easy. This is to represent Rescue Rabbit because I don't have one. I don't have any Dark World cards either, so I'll talk about the Dark Worlds and the Tour Guide thing, whatever. Rescue Rabbit is a very, very hard matchup for this deck. I've only beaten one Rescue Rabbit deck with this. That was a Nail Biter deck, type of thing. Yeah, because of Dolka. Dolka makes everything for this deck very hard. Logia is not a problem because you can just smash and ground it and it dies. You smash and ground it, it dies. That's how that works. But Dolka's very different. It negates monster effects, and all this is monster effects. So yeah, it's very, very difficult to play against rabbit decks. Dark World decks, I'm just going to mention it because I don't have any Dark World cards. Dark Worlds are, again, another deck that's very hard to play. Unless they get you this in the graveyard, in which case you can do whatever the heck you want to. But yeah, Dark World decks, hard to play against. Rabbit decks, hard to play against. So, you know. TGs. I say it's an even matchup because you're both adding stuff to your hand all the time. You really have to, all you do is remove these guys. You don't try to attack them. You can side in D fissures and it'll work. But TGs are a good matchup. Tengu Plants. Very hard matchup. The Maxis fucking kill me every single time. It's because it's not my tournament deck. This is not my tournament deck. This is just a deck that I wanted to play for tournaments, but I had to test it out before I did so. Tengu Plants are very hard to play against. They side very well into it, so you know. And Tour Guide is a bitch if you don't have Veilers. Tour Guide is a bitch. Agents. Another hard deck to play against. But then again, everyone knows what Agents is and what Agent does. They do the gotchi thing. And sometimes you can't get over that gotchi. And the last card deck I faced was Zombies. NYC Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I'll probably put his link in the down bar or whatever. I played him. Played against him. Zombies deck is actually very good. I just drew a crappy hand and I lost to him. But you know, zombies are actually still pretty good if you know how to use them. And I honestly feel that zombies could make a comeback if the person builds it correctly. But yeah, that's all the matchups. That's all the matchups I have that I've seen, that I've played against or whatever. This is the end of Destiny Confirmed, but stay tuned. There are going to be more dull winning with Elemental Heroes. So, for everyone here, alvin1777 saying peace out and Destiny Confirmed.